What's good, YouTube? Sensational Sincere is here, and I'm back with another Tom Clancy's The Division Vendor Reset video. We're here for July 30th, 2021's Vendor Reset. So let's get right into this to see what we got good for this week. For our first gear items, head over to Camp Hudson. Here the weapons vendor has a small grip. For our next gear items, head over to the base of operations. Here the weapons vendor has a black market M60E6. For our next gear items, we're still at the base of operations. Head over to the gear vendor here. We got a prototype performance mod with 4.50%. For our next gear items, we're still at the base of operations. Head over to the advanced weaponry vendor, and here we got a tactical UMP45. Also here we have an extended magazine. For our next gear items, we're still at the base of operations. Head over to the special equipment vendor, and here we have a historian. Next here we have a pecan if you like to run this weapon. Also here we have a Liberator. Next here we have a tactical Vector 45 ACP. Next here we have a custom L86A2. Also here we have a Spec Ops pack with the talent Relentless. For our next gear items, we're still at the base of operations. Head over to the special blueprints vendor, and here we got a first wave PF45 blueprint with a gear score of 256. Next here we have a snub nosed rhino blueprint with a gear score of 256. We also have a firearms gloves blueprint with a gear score of 256. Next here we have a small laser pointer blueprint with a power level 34. And also here we got a flash hider blueprint with a power level 34. For our next gear items, head over to Camp Clinton. Here the special equipment vendor has a Liberator. Also here we have a Cassidy. Next here we have a classic FAL. Also here we have a classic M44 carbine. Next here we have a tactical mask with the talent refreshed. Also here we have a prototype performance mod with 2.50% smart cover damage resilience. Next here we have a tyrant suppressor. For our next gear items, we're still at Camp Clinton. Head over to the special blueprints vendor, and here we got a firearms gloves blueprint with a gear score of 256. Also here we have a firearms mask blueprint with a gear score of 256. For our next gear items, head over to the grindhouse. Here the weapons vendor has an extended magazine. For our next gear items, head over to the crypt. Here the weapons vendor has a high velocity magazine. For our next gear items, head over to West 31st Street checkpoint. Here the Dart Zone vendor has a Model 700. And also here we got a tactical mask with the talent refreshed. For our next gear items, head over to West 34th Street checkpoint. Here the Dart Zone vendor has a reflex sight. For our next gear items, head over to West 39th Street checkpoint. Here the Dart Zone vendor has a Super 90. Next here we have a Spec Ops armor with the talent rapid. Also here we got a prototype stamina mod with 267 stamina and 2% all resistance. And also here we have a rugged mini reflex sight. For our next gear items, head over to West 42nd Street checkpoint. Here the Dart Zone vendor has a prototype performance mod with 5% support station healing speed. For our next gear items, head over to East 53rd Street checkpoint. Here the Dart Zone vendor has an operator vest with the talent reckless. Next here we have a prototype stamina mod with 263 stamina and 3% signature ability resource gain. For our next gear items, head over to East 46th Street checkpoint. Here the Dart Zone vendor has a prototype performance mod with 7.50% support station range. For our next gear items, head over to East 42nd Street checkpoint. Here the Dart Zone vendor has a tactical pack with the talent Relentless. And also here we have a prototype performance mod with 6% first aid ally heal. For our next gear items, head over to East 40th Street checkpoint. Here the Dart Zone vendor has an M700 carbine. And also here we have a prototype performance mod with 2% pulse critical hit chance. For our next gear items, head over to the 5th Ave checkpoint. Here the Dart Zone vendor has an M249B. And also here we have a prototype firearms mod with 259 firearms and 3% skill hate. For our next gear items, head over to DZ2 safe room. Here the Dart Zone vendor has a tactical mask with the talent enduring. Next here we have a tactical pack with the talent inventive. For our next gear items, head over to DZ5 safe room. Here the Dart Zone weapon mod vendor has a heavy magazine spring. And also here we got a mega rifle suppressor. For our next gear items, head over to DZ8 safe room. Here the Dart Zone gear vendor has a Spec Ops armor with the talent Vigorous. For our next gear items, head over to DZ9 safe room. Here the Dart Zone weapon mod vendor has a tyrant suppressor. And also here we got a rugged mini reflex sight. Alright everybody, that's it for our Tom Clancy's The Division Vendor Reset video for July 30th, 2021's Vendor Reset. I hope everybody tuned into it, found them something that they needed. Smash on that sub and like button, y'all. Appreciate that support, and I'll see y'all with the next one. Peace.